I just got off the phone with the U.S. Attorney's Office in Asheville, North Carolina, regarding the lawsuit that my wife and I filed against Cherokee County government officials and some private actors. And, I had explained to the assistant U.S. attorney that I spoke with the timeline that I'm going to break down for you real quick. So on May 11th, 2023, my wife and I were on our way out to the dump. We were driving our Subaru Forester with a trailer hooked up behind it and had all the trash cans and the trash on the trailer. But on the one-lane gravel road that we were on, some trash blew off, a small piece of paper towel, I think it was, and I stopped to let Meredith get out and put it back in the bag and secure it better. While we were sitting there, Rhonda Lovingood, driving her maroon-colored Ford Bronco, the newer models of them, comes flying down the road. I mean, low side, being a reasonable low side, it was like 20 miles an hour. I'd said in the video that's on TikTok and YouTube 15 miles an hour, but 15 miles an hour is still too fast on a one-lane gravel road as you're passing another person who's sitting still. So my trailer's wider than my car, and as I'm looking in the side view mirror, their car missed my trailer wheel well by a couple of 3 inches. And that's how accidents happen. You're going a little too fast, you thought you had clearance and you really didn't. But my wife was leaning on the other side of the trailer, securing the trash in the bag. So if Rhonda would have accidentally impacted my wheel well, then my wife's got injuries to deal with. And of course it was an accident, is what would have been said. But if you would have been going at an appropriate speed, there wouldn't have been an accident. But Rhonda doesn't like me because I made some Facebook comments on her son's page, Seth Morgan, and Rhonda didn't like what I said, so we engaged, and Rhonda kind of got embarrassed. I was talking about her gray hair and the wrinkles around her lips. She smoked cigarettes, and in the video of the encounter on May 11th, you could see that. Rhonda says, "It's gray-haired, wrinkled," because she's still locked on to those comments that I made online. She's holding a grudge, So that was May 11th. May 24th, 2023, Cherokee County Sheriff's Office enters false data in the NCIC system about me that says I'm a violent offender, which means you've been convicted of a violent crime. I've never been charged with, let alone convicted of a violent crime. That I was aligned with sovereign citizen ideology. Sovereign citizens are a known terrorist organization in America. That I had confronted on-duty and off-duty law enforcement. That I made threats against the life of law enforcement. And they had the SBI do a workup on me, an intel workup on me, all because of Bob and Rhonda. Okay? So later on in July, late July of that year, Bob and Rhonda sued me for a no-contact order. So you could see what the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office is doing. I had a disagreement with Bob and Rhonda. I went to the magistrate over this because Bob and Rhonda filed false police reports against me. And I actually had not only Deputy Erickson at the time, but Deputy Chastain, Sergeant Chastain, come out and view the video, and the 8-minute plus long video, and no crime was committed by me. I didn't threaten anybody. Rhonda said that I threatened her and communicated threats and exposed my penis to her, which both are indictable offenses. And in North Carolina, if you report falsely on someone, an indictable offense, then charges can be pressed against you for filing a false police report. So I went to the magistrate, Josh Postel, a couple of weeks after the incident with Bob and Rhonda on May 11th to take out a warrant against them for filing a false police report. Josh Postel is their friend. He wouldn't let me do it. Now, in North Carolina, you could take out a warrant on anybody for anything. As proof of that, my mom trespassed me and my wife off of our own property at 301 Sunny Lane in Marble, North Carolina, in Cherokee County. And even though the sheriff had intelligence reports from the State Bureau of Investigation and entered false NCIC info about me, which also contained a description of my person, a description of my wife's person, the car that we drive, they know that I'm a resident here, but they let Betty Webb just trespass us. No eviction, No eviction notice, no court hearing, no court proceeding, trespassed, and then the sheriff's office wouldn't even take a police report. Now, the sheriff now is Dustin Smith, who's running for re-election. And like I said, Dustin, if I'm here and you haven't killed me yet, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that you don't get reelected as sheriff. Everything within the legal limits that are allowed, I'm going to work to make sure you don't get reelected. And I'm really going to work to make sure that you go to federal prison with this lawsuit. I'm not taking a settlement from you, okay? The only thing I'm going to take from you is a guilty plea, which will result in you going to prison. You got me? So the timeline is May 11th. The incident happened with Bob and Rhonda Lovingood. May 24th. False info was entered into the NCIC system about me at the end of July 2023. Bob and Rhonda sued me for a no contact order. And before the court proceeding, which they held to the end of the day, dismissed everyone else, and it was just me and my wife in the courtroom, and Randy Foster, the editor of the Cherokee Scout, and Bob and Rhonda and their people, and 11 or 12 deputies in the room, because they'd entered this false info in the NCIC system about me, okay? So Judge Wickajarama, he granted a no contact order, being a show order, because I told him, if you sign this order, dude, you're signing my death warrant. They're going to come just gun me down. When I called Wickajarama dude, he flipped out. Even though I announced before the court case began that I have severe CPTSD, complex post-traumatic disorder, stress disorder, I have microadrenaline dumps. I asked for a reasonable accommodation from the court for this. And the judge still allowed like a dozen deputies in there, and he chewed me out for calling him dude on the stand. So we're in process of working on a lawsuit that's going to include him. But we wanted to get this one going on with Dustin and his buddies first. So Dustin entered all this false info. He had the FBI, or somebody at his office did it anyway. All this false info, then had the Lovingood sue me for a no contact order. And Wickajarama, he didn't fully believe their story. That's why he gave a show order. You got to show evidence that this guy's violated the order. You can't just say you did it. Elsewise, he's probably going to wind up dead, because that's how shady these people are, okay? That's the timeline that we're dealing with. After that, in June 24th, my birthday of last year, 2024, is when my mom, Betty Webb from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, and we're in Cherokee County, North Carolina, she took out a trespass warrant on my wife and I. My mom acquired the property through fraud when Meredith and I were locked up over machine guns and suppressors that I made and cannabis that I was growing for our own purposes in our own basement. Of course, we see all the fight over the National Firearms Act now. I already went to the Supreme Court in 2018 over this. I argued the text history tradition. You can look it up on supremecourt.gov. Kevin Vanover, Supreme Court petition certiorari 18-6515. Sometimes it pulls up something about a different case. Don't believe it. Keep searching. You'll find my petition certiorari and see the text history tradition argument, right? So in the SBI intel workup is actually my Supreme Court petition. And they're saying that I'm anti-government, and I've never claimed to be anti-government. I'm pro-constitution. I'm anti-corrupt government. I will live and die and fight anything I have to do on the mountain of the Constitution for the United States of America that established the republic that we're guaranteed in Article 4, Section 4. Article 4, Section 4 says that the United States will guarantee to every state within the Union a republican form of government. Not a democratic form, not a democracy, a republic. And I'll fight and die for the republic to restore it and all of its supremacy. So the timeline is as it goes. I had the incident with the Lovingoods. Then I tried to get a warrant taken out against them for false police report. Then they entered false info in the NCIC system about me, had a false intel workup done. Then the Lovingoods sued me for a no contact order, and all this was, they were trying to kill me, y'all. They were trying to set it up to where they could come out of my house. They got all the info in the computer that they need to say I'm violent when I've never even been charged or convicted of any violence. And Bob and Rhonda were going to have a no contact order and call the police and say, hey, he did this. And then they come out and bang, 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 and I'm dead. And we contacted the AUSA's office, and we're going to see how this goes, okay?